Okay, so let's talk about water. Tap water versus filtered. It is a huge debate, right? You've got people who swear their tap water is the best thing ever, and then you've got people who wouldn't touch it without a filter. But what's really going on with the taste? Is it all in our heads? Or is there a scientific reason, some crucial detail that could change how you think about your water forever? Let's get into it.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the great debate itself, what everyone's saying. Then we'll dive into the actual science of what you're tasting. We'll uncover this really key difference between chlorine and something called chloramine. After that, we'll look at all the ways you can remove that taste. And finally, we'll wrap it all up to help you answer the big question, to filter or not to filter.
All right, first up, the great water debate. You know, this isn't just about what's convenient. For a lot of people, this is serious stuff. It's about local pride, it's about personal taste, and sometimes it's even about health.
And it all kind of kicked off with this simple question on Reddit. Someone in Melbourne, Australia noticed all their friends were suddenly using filter jugs and was just wondering, hey, is this a new thing? And wow, the responses they got just show you how passionate people are on both sides of this.
So in one corner, you've got the tap water fans. This person is literally comparing their local tap water to a popular brand of bottled water. You see a lot of comments like this, people calling their tap water delicious, some of the best in the world. For them, a filter is just a total waste of money.
But then you get the complete opposite reaction. You've got people saying they absolutely hate the taste, that it's like drinking pool water, and that a filter is a must-have. So who's right?
Well, the answer isn't about opinion. It's all about the chemistry.
Okay, so let's step away from the debate and put on our lab coats for a second. It's time to figure out what is really causing that distinct taste in tap water.
And the main reason your water tastes the way it does, well, it comes down to this number right here. To keep our water safe as it travels through miles of pipes, cities add a disinfectant. The most common one is chlorine, and it's usually in a pretty low concentration, somewhere between 0.5 and 4 milligrams per liter. And this is the big trade-off, right? Adding chlorine is absolutely essential. I mean, it wipes out horrible waterborne diseases like cholera and typhoid. But the side effect is that swimming pool taste that a lot of people just can't stand. But here's where it gets really interesting. Not all chlorine is the same.
And this right here is the absolute core of this whole thing. It's a detail most of us have never even heard of. And whether or not you can easily fix the taste of your water, it all comes down to knowing which of these two things your city uses.
Okay, check this out. On the left, you have free chlorine. About 2/3 of water systems use this. It's got that classic pool smell, and this is the most important part, it evaporates pretty easily. But on the right, you've got chloramine. It's what the other third of systems use. It's basically chlorine bonded with ammonia. That makes it way more stable, it doesn't smell as strong, and here's the kicker, it does not evaporate on its own. That one little difference changes everything.
And this chart just says it all. Look at that. If your water has free chlorine, you can just let it sit in a pitcher overnight and boom, most of it is gone. The taste gets way better. But if your city uses chloramine, that pitcher could sit there for days and the level would hardly budge. So that old trick of letting water air out, it only works for some people. So now that we get the problem, let's talk solutions. Because whether you have the easy to remove chlorine or the stubborn chloramine, you've got options. And they range from totally free to, a bit more of an investment.
First up, the free method we just talked about. If you've checked with your local water utility, and you should definitely check, and confirm they use free chlorine, this one's for you. Just grab a pitcher with a wide opening, leave it on the counter for about 24 hours, and most of that chlorine taste will just vanish. Simple, easy, free.
Now for everybody else, especially those of you with chloramine, the go-to solution is activated carbon. This is the black stuff you find inside filters like a Brita. It works through a cool process called adsorption. You can think of it like a chemical magnet. The chlorine and chloramine molecules get pulled out of the water and literally stick to the surface of the carbon. A good carbon filter gets rid of over 95% of both of them.
And you've got a few ways to go here, depending on your needs. A simple pitcher filter is perfect for just 1 or 2 people. If you've got a family, an under-sink system gives you filtered water right from the tap, which is super convenient. And if you're really sensitive to chlorine, even in the shower, a whole house filter treats every single drop of water coming into your home.
Okay, here's a wild card you might not know about. Vitamin C. Yep, good old ascorbic acid. Just a tiny pinch of the powder will instantly neutralize both chlorine and chloramine. Now, it's probably not the most cost-effective way to treat your daily drinking water, but it's amazing for specific things, like taking the chlorine out of a bath or a fish tank, or even water for brewing beer.
And finally, we have the sledgehammer approach, reverse osmosis, or RO. Look, an RO system is probably overkill if all you care about is the chlorine taste. But if you're concerned about some of the other stuff people mentioned, like lead from old pipes or other contaminants, then an RO system is pretty much the most powerful home filtration you can get.
So let's talk money. The bottom line, letting water sit is obviously free, but what's really interesting is when you look at the cost per gallon. A pitcher filter seems cheap up front, but check out the undersink and whole house systems. Yeah, the initial price is higher, but over time, the cost for each gallon of water can actually be cheaper than buying those pitcher refills over and over again. It's all about matching the system to your situation.
All right, this brings us to the final question. We've got the science, we've looked at the options, so how do you actually decide what to do? It really just comes down to you. If you live somewhere where the tap water tastes great and you're happy with it, honestly, there's no major reason to filter. It's cheap and it's zero work. But if you are really sensitive to that chlorine taste, or you live in an older house with pipes that make you nervous, or maybe you've seen a local water report that has you concerned, then a filter can be a fantastic investment for both taste and peace of mind.
So at the end of the day, there's no one-size-fits-all answer, but now you're armed with the knowledge. You know the science behind the taste, you know the crucial difference between chlorine and chloramine, and you know all the tools you have to change your water if you want to. So the final question really is for you to answer. What's in your glass?